My lovely former students, you are mostly welcome in our proceeding lecture series in biology, and we are currently proceeding with our topic known as healthy immunity and diseases. We have already covered on our several subtopics. In our today's session, we look on our last subtopic, which is common infection and diseases. In this subtopic, we will see different diseases, their mode of transmission, their effect, as well as on how to prevent them. You are mostly welcome. So our subtopic is known as common infection and diseases. We have already covered on the definition of the infection as well as the on diseases. The diseases, this condition happen after someone has been infected by the pathogen, and infection occur when the pathogen is inside the living things body or inside the human body, and that pathogen can be either virus, bacteria, or protozoa causing diseases. And after the infection is where someone is suffering from a particular disease whereby he or she experiences a healthy discomfort. Now, also, we have already covered on the types of diseases where we see there are two main classes of diseases, where there is communicable and non-communicable disease. Communicable disease, these are the diseases which are transmitted from one person, infected person, to another infected person. And these diseases are transferred or are transmitted through different ways. The first one is through the droplet, the other one is through the skin contact, the other one is through the sexual contact. Also, we have the other classes of diseases was non-communicable, which are not transmitted, rather than they are acquired either from the exposure of the environment or either from the inheritance. Now, let us consider these the types of communicable diseases and their infection, meaning that these are diseases which are transmitted from infected person to another person through different ways, as we have already seen. Now, by starting with the first disease, which is COVID-19. It is one of the examples of the pandemic communicable disease. So, it is caused by coronavirus. So, this COVID-19, it is caused by coronavirus 19. And it can be transmitted through different ways. The first one is through coming into contact with the infected person. So this is one of the ways of transmission of the communicable disease, which is through the direct contact, either through the contact, through the use of the belonging of the infected person, through the contact either by touching, body contact, by kissing, or by hugging. So that kind of sweet can result to the transmission of this particular disease, and that's why we are emphasizing by different medications so as to make sure that we clean up our hand every time when at the time of the corona outbreak. Also, by inhaling air droplets from an infected person. Vile vile, kwa mfano mtu mwenye corona, in case kama atakuwa na kohoa, at the same time na wewe ukavuta ile pumzi au zile droplets zikaja kwako, meaning that na wewe utakuwa katika risk kubwa kwa ajili ya kuweza kuugua corona. And that's why tunazuiliwa sana kukaa katika maeneo yenye mkusanyiko wa watu. The other one is through touching surface that has been contaminated by virus when touching eyes, nose, or mouth. And that's why we are always emphasizing to clean our hand. Ndio maana tunaambia kila muda kunawa mikono mara kwa mara kutumia sanitizer, kwa sababu in case kama either umeshika sehemu ambayo tayari kuna coronavirus. Virus ni non-living organism, very living. Ikiwa outside the host cell anakuwa non-living, kwa anaweza kuweza kuishi kama non-living ambapo anaenda kucrystallize. Kwa in case kama utashika ile eneo ambapo kuna coronavirus na ukashika maeneo yenye upenyo kama macho, mdomoni, or nose, meaning that wata penetrate inside the body na hivyo kuwa activated na kuwa living thing inside the human host body. The risky factor, vitu gani ambavyo vinapelekea mtu kuweza kuugua corona? The first one, anyone is at a risk of being infected with corona. Mtu yoyote yule anaweza kaambukizwa corona. However, people with underlying medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, sickle cell, anemia, HIV and AIDS and asthma cancer are at risk. Mtu yote anaweza kuugua corona, lakini watu ambao katika janga kubwa au katika possibility kubwa kuugua corona ni wale watu ambao tayari wana matatizo ya kiafya kama kisukari, HIV, sickle cell anemia, kwa sababu the body immunity tayari imekuwa weakened, meaning that they are easily to be attacked by diseases. And that's why vaccination, which is kind of the active artificial immunity, is being emphasized to them. Now, what are the symptoms? Dalili zipi za ugonjwa wa corona? The first one is fever, mtu kuwa na homa, headache, kichwa kuuma, tiredness, kusikia uchovu, difficulty in breathing and shortness of breath, kupata shida katika kuvuta hewa au kupumua. Also, joint aches and pain. The loss of smell or tasting, kupoteza hamu ya kula, abdominal pain, diarrhea as well as vomiting, kuanza kuumwa, kuharisha as well as kutapika. Also, you have to note that infected person may be symptomatic. Kwa hiyo katika huu ugonjwa wa corona, mtu ambaye tayari amebi affected by this particular disease lazima aonyeshe dalili. Now, what are the effects of coronavirus? Madhara gani au nini matokeo ya mtu kuugua corona? The first one, there is lung damage. This is because that's why kuna breathing difficulty. Mtu anakuwa anapata shida katika kuvuta hewa. And also blood clotting and can lead to death. Kwa vile damu kuganda na hivyo inaweza kupelekea kifo. Now, how can we prevent the coronavirus or corona disease? Also, avoid unnecessary gathering. Epuka mikusanyiko isiyokuwa na lazima. Also, keep social distance. You have to keep social distance. That's why during the corona outbreak, kulikuwa hata katika magari watu wanabii emphasize katika level 6 kuepuka that gathering, because one of the diseases which can be transmitted through the air droplets as well as contact. Also, you have to use hand sanitizer as often as possible. Hand sanitizer it uses as kwa ajili ya kuweza kukill those virus. Also, wear mask when going to public places. Barakoa. Also, seek medical care at nearest health facilities. When you see these symptoms, make sure that you go to the nearby medical center so as to seek for medication. Also, isolation of patients. Wagonjwa wa COVID wanatakiwa watengwe, waweke katika sehemu zao husika. Also, frequently wash your hands thoroughly with soap and clean running water. Kila mtu anatakiwa oshe mikono yako kwa maji tiririka na sabuni. Also, seek immediate medical treatment. You have to seek for immediate medical treatment kwa sababu ukiendelea kuwa na huo ugonjwa utapoteza maisha kwa muda mfupi. Now, the secondary communicable disease is upper respiratory tract infection, or kwa kifupi tunaita URTI. And most of these diseases are caused by virus. However, some infections such as flu are caused by allergy. Kwa moja haya magonjwa yanahusiana na mfumo wa upumuaji yanasababishwa na virus. Lakini kuna baadhi ya magonjwa kama vile mafua ambayo yanasababishwa na allergy. Ida mtu amekuwa na kuna vumbi, mtu aka inhale pale anaweza kupata mafua. Lakini most of them are caused by virus. Also, these diseases are transmitted by different means. The first one, by contacting body fluid of sick person. Also through the air. So air droplet one also of the way of transmitting this upper respiratory disease. Now, what are the risky factors? Vitu gani ambavyo vinaweza kumpelekea mtu akaugua huu ugonjwa? The first one is staying in crowded area, kwa katika maeneo yenye mrundikano wa watu. Also low body immunity. Low body immunity is because either due to the different diseases someone is suffering from, ambayo inaenda ku weaken the body immunity to fight against or to resist against the infection. Also having allergy to pollen, dust and some kind of smell like perfume. Vile vile mtu kuwa na allergy katika either ya vumbi, aina ya perfume, mtu anaweza kupiga chafu na kupata mafua na kozi. So these are the risky factors ambazo zinapelekea mtu kuweza kuugua URTS. Now, what are the symptoms of upper respiratory infection disease? The first one is fever, kuwa na homa, headache, also kukohoa, kikohozi kikavu, dry cough, tiredness. The other one is difficulty in breathing or shortness of breath, also running nose, mafua Now, what are the effects of the upper respiratory infection disease? The upper respiratory infection disease, as we have already seen, that it affects most of the respiratory organ. Now, it affects the upper respiratory tract. Inakuwa inaffect upper respiratory tract ambayo ina be responsible for the breathing process. Now, what are the control measures which should be taken so as to avoid to be infected by this particular disease? The first one, frequently wash your hands thoroughly with soap and clean running water. And second one, you have to ensure that you use clean and ironed handkerchief. Make sure kwamba handkerchief yako kama unaitumia ni safi, vile vile be ironed, imepigwa pasi kwa ajili ya kuweza kuua those virus. Also, wear mask in dusty places. Vile vile kwa wale watu wenye allergy na vumbi, make sure that you wear dust, or another term is barakoa katika maeneo yenye vumbi. Also, you have to seek immediate medical treatment. Make sure that you go to the hospital to take for medication. The third communicable disease is Ebola. Ebola, this is mostly common disease. Mara kwa mara tunasikia DRC Congo. And this disease occur by the eating of the wild animal, ambao mara nyingi anakuwa ni monkey. So, this disease is caused by Ebola virus, and it is transmitted by using different ways. The first one is by contacting body fluid from a sick person or a person that died recently from diseases. Kwa hiyo, huu ugonjwa nao pia na be transmitted by contact. As we already said that it is communicable disease. Can be transmitted either from infected person to an infected person. So when you touch the body or the body fluid of either infected person or that person, you be at higher risk of being infected by this particular disease. Na ndio maana wagonjwa wengi wa Ebola walikuwa wanatengwa na vile vile hairuhusiwi kabisa kuweza kuona maiti yake. The second one is by consuming or contacting an infected chimpanzee or monkey. Vile vile kwa kula nyama ya monkey ambaye ameambukizwa na Ebola virus. Na ndio maana we are not allowed or we are advised to make sure that wala unakula nyama za mbugani, make sure that unajua ni nyama gani. Usile nyama ya mbugani kiolela. Make sure that you know it. This Ebola virus are found in this monkey. Now, what are the risky factors? Vitu gani ambazo vinaweza kupelekea mtu akaugua ugonjwa wa Ebola? The first one is by living in a place where they consume chimpanzee or monkey meal. Kuishi katika maeneo ambayo watu wanakuwa wanakula monkey meal. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu this Ebola virus are found in this particular vector. Monkey acts as a vector for Ebola virus. So, also the history of traveling to area with Ebola outbreak. Kwa yule mtu ambaye anakuwa anasafiri katika maeneo ambayo kuna ugonjwa wa Ebola, anakuwa katika riski kubwa ya kuweza kuugua huu ugonjwa. Now, what are the symptoms? Ni dalili gani sasa za ugonjwa wa Ebola? The first one is by having fever. The second one is body weakness, mwili kuwa dhaifu, kukosa nguvu. Also bleeding through the body of his mwili, mtu kwanza kuvuja damu kupitia sehemu mbalimbali zenye uwazi, kwa mfano kama kwenye nose, in the eyes, in the mouth, anus, urethra, as well as ear. So a person who is suffering from this disease will experience bleeding through different body offices. Now, what are the effects? Madhara gani ya Ebola? The first one affects spleen and kidney. Kwa hiyo Ebola inakuwa inaffect sana bandama pamoja na figo, na vile vile it damages immune system. Vile vile ina weaken the body immune system, na hivyo tunakuwa katika high risk of being infected other disease, na vile vile katika high risk ya kufa. Also, the other one is death. So the other effect of Ebola inapelekea mtu kufa. Now, how can we control or prevent this particular Ebola virus? Now, first of all, you have to seek for immediate medical treatment so as to get a vaccination and other medical treatment so as to be treated. The other one, do not consume red meat without knowing the source. So usile nyama za mbugani bila kujua ni nyama ya mnyama gani. Also, quarantine the affected areas individual. Vile vile watu ambao wameathirika na ugonjwa watakiwa wawekwe katika karantini, watengwe. Also restrict travel to place or country with Ebola outbreak. Watu kuzuiliwa kusafiri katika maeneo ambayo tayari kuna maambukizi ya Ebola. Now the other disease or communicable disease is cholera. Cholera is one of the communicable disease which is transmitted through eating the contaminated food, water, and others. Also, so it is caused by bacteria called Vibrio cholerae. So, cholera ni moja ya ugonjwa ambao inasababishwa na bacteria ambayo inaitwa Vibrio cholerae, kipindupindu. And it is spread through ingestion of contaminated food or drink. The main source of consecutive or transmission of this disease is through ingesting the contaminated food or drink. Now, what are the risky factors of being infected with this particular disease, cholera? The first one is poor environmental sanitation and hygiene. Kutokuwa na vyoo bora inaweza ikapelekea watu katika high risk ya kuugua kipindupindu. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu it become those feces which contain the Vibrio cholerae, when they get contaminated with water or food we eat and ingested by particular person, inaweza kapelekea mtu kuweza kuugua huu ugonjwa. So the toilet hygiene should be well followed. The other one is water scarcity. Uchache wa maji kwa ya shida, vile vile inapelekea tu kunywa maji yasiyo salama. Also poor personal hygiene, usafi binafsi, kula vyakula bila kunawa mikono, kula vyakula vibichi, kwa maandalizi machafu ya kuandaa chakula. Unaandaa chakula unakiacha kiwa wazi, nzi pale wanakuja infected ambaye anaweza ka transmit this particular disease. The other one is symptoms. So these are symptoms of cholera, someone who is affected or infected with cholera. The first one is watery diarrhea like rice water. Mtu anaanza kuharisha. The second one is vomiting. The other one is sunken eyes, macho kuingia ndani. So what are the effects of cholera? The first one is the dehydration. Dehydration ni the loss of water, kwa sababu mtu anakuwa na experience excessive diarrhea as well as vomiting ambayo inakuwa inatumia maji. So inahitaji huyu mtu sasa kuweza kupata maji ya kutosha, because in case kama atakosa maji, meaning that atafariki. Because we know that water is a very important component in our body. The other one is body weakness, mwili kosa nguvu. The other one is muscle cramp, misuli kukaza. Also may lead to death if not treated early. So in case kama utapata medical treatment kwa haraka, inaweza kapelekea kifo. Now, how can we prevent or control this cholera? Cholera is transmitted through the eating or ingesting contaminated food and water. Also, and this is caused due to the poor sanitation and toilet hygiene as well as personal hygiene. So how can we control them? From that point now, you have to make sure that you boil or heat drinking water so as to avoid drinking contaminated water. Because when you will boil, meaning that you will kill those Vibrio cholerae. The other one is you have to cover the food so as to prevent that, prevent housefly ambayo ni carrier wa housefly ambayo ndio carrier wa Vibrio cholerae pale ambapo anakuwa anafeed katika contaminated feeds. So make sure that you cover the food so as to prevent the contamination of food from the housefly. The other one is make sure that you wash hands with the soap and clean running water after using the toilet and before eating. Make sure that you clean your hands. Also use toilet properly. Toilet hygiene should be followed. Also pit lighting should be covered as well as seek immediate medical treatment. Now the other one is meningitis. Meningitis hapo ni ugonjwa ambao sana unakuwa unaffect ubongo. So it is caused by bacteria called Meningococcus fish, is one of the species of the coccus fish, and this spread through the droplets when coughing, sneezing or kissing. So it is one of the diseases which is transmitted through the droplets. Mtu anapokuwa anakohoa, anapokuwa anapiga chafya au when they kiss, it will result to the infection with this Meningococcus species ambayo inapelekea meningitis. So, what are the risky factors? Vichochezi gani ambavyo vinaweza kupelekea mtu akaugua meningitis? The first one is living in crowded area, because it is one of the disease which is transmitted through droplets. So when you live in crowded area, when someone who is infected with meningitis, when he or she will cough or sneeze, meaning that anaweza katika high risk of being infected with this particular disease. Also poor housing structure, crowded area ambapo kuna hakuna hewa, hakuna mpangilio mzuri wa nyumba. Also low immunity, kuwa na kinga dhaifu ya mwili. So what are the symptoms? Dalili gani za meningitis? The first one is fever. This is one of the symptoms of meningitis. The second one is headache. The other one is vomiting. Also the other one is seizure or fits. Na symptom nyingine vile stiff neck, shingo kaza, vile kuna delirium. So these are the main symptoms of the meningitis. Now, what are the effects of the meningitis? My lovely former student, the meningitis is one of the disease which mostly affects the brain. So this meningococcus species mainly appear to affect the brain. So what will happen if the brain is being damaged? So the effect ya kwanza, meaning that brain damage, inapelekea mtu kuweza kuugua ukichaa. Second one, poor coordination of movement coordination inakuwa ni mtu anaanza kuwa na swinging movements, yani the body balance inakuwa inapotea. Also deafness, mtu anaweza akawa kiziwi, vile anaweza paralyze. Sikia mtu paralyze, it is because of this particular meningococcus species. Now, how can we control or prevent this disease? So as you already seen that it is one of the disease which is transmitted through the droplets. So we have to control it by avoiding this contact. So you have to isolation of patients. Wagonjwa wanatakiwa wa be isolated from other people kwa ajili ya prevent the transmission of the disease. Also vaccination, chanjo, watu wanatakiwa wapate chanjo. Vile to seek immediate medical treatment so as to cure this particular disease. The other one is tuberculosis, kifua kikuu. Tuberculosis is one of the disease which is caused by the species of the coccus bacteria, which is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The Mycobacterium tuberculosis is always spread by droplets when coughing or sneezing. It's one of the disease which is transmitted through droplets. Kwa mfano mtu mwenye kifua kikuu, in case kama atapiga chafya au atakohoa na kama maeneo yale, meaning that wale virusi or this bacteria will, when you inhale them, meaning that you will be at higher risk of being infected this particular disease. And that's why you are always told that, emphasize that, make sure that you cover up your mouth using the clean handkerchief when coughing kwa ajili ya kuweza to prevent this particular transmission of the disease. Now, what are the risky factors of being infected from this particular disease? The first one is low immunity. Kuwa na kinga dhaifu. Kwa mfano, most of people are suffering from this disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, as well as AIDS. They have the low immunity. Now that's why mara nyingi wanakuwa napewa chanjo ya kifua kikuu, kwa sababu in case if you have the low body immunity, you are being at higher risk of being infected this communicable disease, kwa sababu kinga ya mwili unakuwa ni mdogo, kwa uwezo kuweza kupambana dhidi ya magonjwa unakuwa ni mdogo. The other one is visiting place with endemic TB cases. Kwa mfano kama mtu anatembelea maeneo ambapo watu wameathirika sana ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu, na wewe pia unakuwa uko katika high risk of being infected with this particular disease because it is transmitted through the droplets kwa njia ya hewa. The other one is poor living and working condition. Mazingira mabovu ya kufanyia kazi, kwa mfano mazingira, kwa mfano nyumba ambayo haina madirisha kutosha, hamna hewa ya kutosha. So vile inaweza ikapelekea mtu kuweza kuugua huu ugonjwa. The other one is smoking, uvutaji wa sigara inaweza kapelekea mtu akaugua huu ugonjwa. The other one is malnutrition, kutopata a good balanced diet, mlo kamili. Now as well as kingine ni indoor air pollution. Air pollution vile inaweza kapelekea mtu akawa katika high risk of being infected from this particular disease. Also, consumption of untreated milk from infected dairy animal. Na ndio maana tunashauriwa kwamba make sure that you consume well boiled milk, usinywe maziwa mabichi. Now, what are the effects of tuberculosis? The first one is lung damage, inapelekea kuharibika kwa mapafu. The second one inapelekea bone damage. The other one inapelekea kidney damage. Vile vile inapelekea bone infection. The other one is hunchback. The other effect is damage to the immune system, weaken the general body immune system. So what are the symptoms of the tuberculosis? The first one is coughing and night sweat. Mtu anakuwa anakohoa, kikohozi kikavu, vile vile anakuwa anatokwa jasho sana sana usiku. The other one is prolonged cough, kikohozi cha muda mrefu. Also blood stained sputum, anapokuwa anakohoa anaweza kakohoa katoa damu. Vile vile kuwa na homa, fever, poor appetite, kukosa hamu ya kula, weight loss and lack of energy, mwili kukonda, vile vile kukosa nguvu. So those are the main symptoms of tuberculosis. So when you see someone is experiencing those particular type of symptoms, you make sure that you advise them to visit the medical center kwa ajili ya uchunguzi na vipimo. Now, how can we control the tuberculosis disease? The first one is by having vaccination. You make sure that you have the vaccination for tuberculosis. Also, avoid the crowded area as disease is transmitted through the air droplets. The other one, avoid living in poorly